It was an age of adventure. Rumors had spread among scholars and adventurers about a lost empire buried deep within the heart of the jungle. It had been forgotten by time and sweltering heat for centuries. But now a young historian was making his way to its lost capital city. For weeks, he and his team of archaeologists carefully excavated the earth, inching closer to the lost city. And then suddenly, the jungle fell silent. The trees seemed to be parting, revealing an enormous stone gate adorned with images of fierce warriors and strange creatures. The inscription on the gate told the story of a great empire, one whose power had once stretched across the known world. Their banners were red as blood, and their legions were said to be unstoppable. But then disaster struck, and the empire was swallowed whole by the jungle. Only legends remained of the mighty warlords and emperors until now. In the modern day, this forgotten empire has been rediscovered. And so begins our story. Hello, and welcome to Rise of the Forgotten Empire. I'm your host and narrator. You are watching this channel. Deep within the jungle, the first rays of sunlight were filtering through the thick canopy above, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. Before them stood the entrance to a vast underground labyrinth, perhaps holding secrets that could change history itself. As they ventured deeper into the complex, the air grew thick with anticipation. What would they uncover next? Behind them, the entrance began to collapse, sealing away the outside world and cutting off all hope of escape. The historian's headlamp cut through the darkness as he moved deeper into the labyrinth, the silence broken only by the drip, drip, drip of water echoing around him. Then suddenly, his headlamp flickered and died, plunging him into absolute darkness. In the distance, he heard a low growl, a sound sending shivers down his spine. Whatever lurked in the shadows was stirring. Just when he thought his fate was sealed, another light pierced the darkness, revealing a massive cavern filled with statues of ancient warriors frozen in mid-battle. Each statue was intricately carved, depicting soldiers clad in armor, wielding weapons of war. They were not just artifacts, but silent sentinels guarding the secrets of the empire. And then one of the statues stirred. With a guttural roar, the awakened warrior came to life, his eyes blazing with an otherworldly light. The historian watched in awe and terror as the statue shook off the last vestiges of its ancient slumber. But it wasn't just one. One by one, the statues began to stir, awakening as if from a long dream. Some were colossal, towering over the historian, while others were small, no bigger than a child. But each one was imbued with an otherworldly power that sent shivers down his spine. Were they friends or foes? Would they help him escape? Or were they here to stop him? The answer would determine his fate. Meanwhile, back at the surface, the remaining members of the expedition team were desperately trying to find a way back into the labyrinth. The entrance was blocked, but they refused to give up. Using every tool at their disposal, they chipped away at the rubble, driven by a desperate hope of reaching the historian before it was too late. But time was running out, and the ancient guardians below were stirring. As the battle between good and evil raged below ground, the historian found himself face to face with one of the awakened warriors. He raised his hand, palm out, in a gesture of peace, hoping to communicate his friendly intentions. But the warrior didn't understand. Its mind was a battlefield of conflicting thoughts, torn between its ancient programming and the new reality it found itself in. Could the historian bridge the gap between past and present? The warrior advanced, its steps echoing ominously in the cavern. Was it preparing to attack, or was there more to its movements? The historian held his breath, unsure of what to do next. This moment of truth could end in bloodshed or understanding. The fate of the empire rested in the balance. The warriors, it turned out, were bound to the labyrinth by an ancient oath, sworn to protect their slumbering masters from any who dared disturb their eternal rest. The historian knew he needed to prove himself worthy to earn their trust. So he began to speak, sharing stories of the outside world and the purpose of his discovery. His words echoing in the vast cavern, the historian felt a surge of determination. If he couldn't earn their trust, he would have to find another way out. The warriors were relentless, their attacks precise and powerful. But the historian was nimble and quick-witted, dodging their blows and finding openings where he could strike back. The fight was far from over. And as the battle raged, the historian searched for a way to end the conflict without bloodshed. What if he could offer the warriors something better than mindless obedience? An idea sparked in his mind. Perhaps there was a way to give them a choice. Drawing upon the knowledge gleaned from his studies of the ancient empire, the historian began to weave a tale of courage, honor, and sacrifice. He spoke of the glory of their past and the duty they had sworn to uphold. His words resonated with the warriors, stirring something deep within their ancient hearts. Could this be the key to ending the conflict peacefully? As the labyrinth trembled around them, the historian felt a shift in the warriors' demeanor. Their movements became less aggressive, their eyes losing some of their fierce intensity. Hope flickered within him. Perhaps there was still time to avert bloodshed. With a heavy heart, the historian knew he couldn't stay. His mission was to uncover history, not to claim it for himself. But how could he ensure the empire's legacy was preserved without disturbing the eternal slumber of its people? The answer lay in the heart of the labyrinth, hidden within the very core of the empire's power. Deep within the labyrinth, the historian stumbled upon a vast chamber filled with ancient artifacts and relics of the empire's glory days. Among them, he found a scroll inscribed with powerful magic, said to be the key to controlling the awakened warriors. But as he reached for it, the warriors appeared behind him, their expressions unreadable. The historian knew he had only moments to convince them that he meant no harm. His words echoed in the vast chamber, carrying the weight of his discovery and the potential consequences of their actions. The warriors listened intently, their bodies tense, ready to strike if his deception was revealed. The historian's heart pounded in his chest as he shared his findings, hoping they would understand his true intentions. But would they accept his peaceful solution, or would they choose destruction? The fate of the empire hung in the balance. But before he could make his final plea, a new presence materialized in the chamber, exuding an aura of power that commanded attention. It was the leader of the warriors, its presence radiating an otherworldly authority. The historian stood his ground, his eyes locked on the leader, determination etched on his face. This was his moment to prove his peaceful intentions and prevent bloodshed. In the end, the leader of the warriors accepted the historian's peaceful solution, recognizing the futility of endless warfare. Guided by the historian, the warriors retreated back into their statues, ready to awaken should the need arise. The historian felt a sense of relief, knowing he had averted bloodshed, but also a tinge of sadness at the thought of leaving the empire's wonders hidden from the world. The prophecy foretold the return of the Crimson Banner, a symbol of the empire's might. Many believed it to be nothing more than a legend, but the historian found evidence suggesting it might be real. According to the prophecy, the banner would reappear, guiding the chosen leader back to the empire's heart. There, they would unite the scattered remnants and bring the empire back to its former glory. But who was the chosen leader, and what role would they play in the empire's rebirth? The historian pondered these questions, realizing that he might be closer to the center of the prophecy than he had imagined. Hidden away in a secret chamber deep within the labyrinth, a group of individuals known as the Keepers of the Flame still existed. They had managed to survive the empire's downfall and had kept its traditions alive through the ages. Now, with the empire rediscovered, the Keepers saw an opportunity to reclaim their lost power. However, they had one major obstacle: the historian. To seize control, they needed him out of the way, and so they sent assassins to eliminate him, plunging the recovering empire into chaos. The historian found himself targeted by the very people he had tried to help, the Keepers of the Flame. They sought to exploit the Empire's rediscovery for their own gain, plunging the recovering Empire into chaos. But the historian was prepared. Having studied the Empire's history, he knew its weaknesses and strengths. He rallied the awakened warriors to his side, forming an unlikely alliance between past and present. Together, they stood against the Keepers, determined to restore order and preserve the Empire's legacy. The battle was fierce, a clash between tradition and progress, order and chaos. But the historian and his allies prevailed, proving that even the most entrenched corruption could be overcome. The Empire, still reeling from the Keeper's treachery, needed a strong leader to guide it through the turbulent times. Though initially reluctant, the historian stepped up to the challenge. His journey from a humble scholar to a reluctant hero was far from over. So ends our tale of the rise of the Forgotten Empire. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time and adventure. We hope you enjoyed the story, and if you did, please don't forget to show your support. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.